Welcome to my channel. Listening practice. Full story in English. Lion King and Monkeys.
One day in a forest there lived the Lion King, along with other animals in the forest. From generation to generation, the lions were kings of the forest because of the just and wise nature they had, so the lion deserved to be king. The Lion King was very fair in making decisions. No animal was excluded in the forest. For the Lion King, all animals were entitled to their respective rights. Justice had to be upheld, and a good conscience and family traits had to exist in every animal. That was the Lion King's great wish for his flock. One day, the lion wanted to test his folk who were around the palace, because several times the king received news that many animals were doing bad things out there. They were not honest, they underestimated small things, they lied to each other. This information made the king convinced that the folk he met every day with friendly smiles were some of them fake. Surely some of them only put on a sweet face in front of the king, and behind their backs they would do evil things. The king disguised himself. He wore a robe and covered part of his face, so that no one could recognize him. The Lion King secretly came out of the palace to see his folk directly. The Lion King was looking for the right place to carry out testing. Finally, he found the right place. He wanted to carry out testing on a street often passed by animals. The king, with his strong and muscular body, lifted a fairly large log and placed the wood in the middle of the road. After placing the wood, the Lion King immediately hid behind a tree and watched every animal that passed by. Not long after the king had been hiding, an elephant passed by. The elephant just kept walking and didn't care about the logs blocking the road. A herd of giraffes passed by, and the giraffes just stepped over the log without thinking about moving it to the edge. Many types of animals crossed the road, but none of them moved the log. The king felt disappointed with his folk. Apparently there were still many of his folk who did not have a caring nature. When the king was about to take back the log, suddenly he heard a monkey and his child crossing the road. The king gave up his intention to move the wood and went back to hiding behind a tree. When the monkeys reached the log, they stopped and put down all the fruit they had brought with them. Monkey father said, "Wow, there is a log, son. This log must be moved, otherwise it will block the road. Help dad to move it aside." The father and son monkey tried their best to move the log to the edge. Sweat started pouring down the bodies of the two monkeys because of the heavy log. The Lion King said, "It turns out there are still my folk who have a high sense of caring." The Lion King, who saw the actions of the two monkeys, felt sorry. With all their might the two monkeys pushed. Finally the log was no longer blocking the road. The father and son monkey panted exhaustedly as they sat back. After they felt better, the two monkeys continued their journey. The next day, the king gathered all his folk and told them what happened yesterday. The elephants, giraffes, and other animals that crossed the road and did not move the log felt very embarrassed in front of the king. The king advised all his folk to increase their concern for small things. Then the monkey father and his good son were appointed as one of the important animals in the palace. They were both welcome to live in the palace.
The story of the kind bat.
Deep in a forest there lived a bat and many other types of animals. The bat was known to be kind and liked to help other animals in trouble. All the animals that lived in the forest lived in harmony and side by side with each other. Each of them had a comfortable place to live and a home. Every day in the morning they all worked to collect food. until one night, a family of sparrows screamed for help. A bat whose house was not far from the sparrow family's house immediately came to the sparrow. It turned out that the sparrow was screaming for help because their children were sick, their bodies were very hot, so the sparrow's family was very worried. The bat felt very sorry to see the sick sparrow children. The bat asked the mother sparrow, "Oh, mother sparrow, what can I do to help your sick child?" The sparrow's family was very happy that the kind bat came to help them, but the sparrow's mother actually couldn't bear to cause the bat any trouble. Because only the bat had the ability to come out in the pitch-black night, the bat went looking for medicine. The medicine that the sparrow family needed was very far from where they lived. The medicine that the sparrow needed was at the border of the forest, so the sparrow was forced to let the bat go to get the medicine. Before the bat left to go get the medicine, the sparrow gave the bat a basket which would later become a place for the medicine. Without waiting any longer, the bat immediately flapped his wings and flew to look for the medicine, accompanied only by the basket he put in his mouth. After several hours of bat flying, he finally arrived at the border of the forest. The bat perched on a tree to pay attention and look for the medicine that the mother sparrow meant, but the bat found it difficult to differentiate between the many types of leaves. Because the bat was very confused about distinguishing between the leaves, the bat decided to ask a bunch of fireflies that were around the leaves. The fireflies showed the leaves that the bats were looking for, which were not far from where they were. Finally, the bat saw the golden yellow leaves. It turned out that those leaves were the medicine. The bat plucked the golden yellow leaves until the basket was full. After the basket was full, the bat thanked the fireflies, then he went into the forest. The bat flew deep into the forest. After several hours, he finally arrived at the sparrow's house. The sparrow's family was very happy that the bat had finally come with medicine. The mother sparrow immediately mixed the leaves and gave them to her children. The next day, the sparrow's father and mother came to the bat's house bringing lots of fresh fruit. The fruit was given to the bat as a sign of their gratitude, because thanks to the bat's kindness, the sparrow's children were able to recover.